This is a Professional Edge, and my name is Sean Todd, tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. And we are talking about Beyond the Will, comprehensive estate planning. Thanks for tuning in. And before we get started, want to give you a reference to our website, emcadvisors.com. That is Echo Mary Charlie Advisors.com. And on that, we are offering an ultimate estate plan guide for free. That is FREE. Again, go to emcadvisors.com, request your ultimate estate planning guide, and we will send that out to you for free. As we are talking beyond the will, a lot of our listeners here have an estate plan in force, and they have not revisited it since the kids were in toddlers and in diapers. Yes, when the second and final child got born and arrived, they had the impetus to go and get some estate planning documents done, because what if something happened to both parents? Who's going to be the guardian of these two lovely children? Well, lo and behold, we put it in the drawer, and now we are watching our children go across the stage on college graduation, and then we have this wake-up call on, hey, we have this estate planning document that was done about 20 years ago. What do we need to do to update it? Well, we talked about previously on Beyond the Will. Let's go beyond having a will, and let's do some actual good constructive planning within our estate plan. Now, unfortunately, with an estate plan, we have the consequence of passing. Yes, that's when this triggers your last will and testament to be valid, to be the document in which is going to resolve your estate. So beyond the will, let's look at some provisions that we can have beyond the will. Well, we can decide to give some assets, and yes, when a person's near that last point in death, they start thinking about things and start giving away property. So lo and behold, the person before they pass away, I got to set this up so you understand it. Before they pass away, they got the bad recommendation from the doctor. It says, you know what, you're terminal, you got 6 months to live. So they start giving stuff away, and you would be surprised. They hand over their stock account. You know, Jimmy, I'm not going to have it. I got enough money in the checking account to live. Here's my brokerage account. And they sign it over to Jimmy, and Jimmy's their son, because the spouse is already gone, they're just sign it over. That's the gift. So here's the downside beyond the will on the planning side of that gift. Well, they've had this stock account for forever. They've had Microsoft, Home Depot, Aflac in there, just these good blue chip companies. Well, you know what happened when they made that gift of that brokerage account? Jimmy, who's receiving that account, just got the basis in that stock portfolio of what Dad had. Well, Dad has a very low stock basis. Let's call it $10,000 for discussion purposes, and it's grown to $80,000. Well, lo and behold, Dad's not going to have any gift tax to write to the Internal Revenue Service. He's going to have to file a gift tax return because he exceeded the annual exclusion. But he's not going to write a check for gift taxes because of the unified credit that he's entitled to. But what about Jimmy, the one that just got this $80,000 brokerage account? Jimmy wants to spend that $80,000. Well, he can. Calls the individual, sells the stock, and $80,000 is going to Jimmy. Perfect. But is there any tax consequence to Jimmy? Well, a gift we know is going to be excluded from ordinary income tax. We know that. But what about this 80 versus the 10? Can Jimmy sell that stock for $80,000 and not pay any capital gains tax on it? The answer is no. What happened was when Jimmy got this gift, he took over Dad's basis, which was 10. So we got a sales price of 80, an adjusted basis of 10. We have long-term capital gains tax on 70, and just quick math at 10%. That's a $7,000 decision. So what we could have done beyond the will and comprehensive estate planning is say, yes, we want this stock to go to Jimmy. So therefore, why don't we let this pass through the estate of Dad? When Jimmy inherits that stock portfolio at 80, then Jimmy can sell it for 80, pay zero capital gains tax, and just listening here on the Professional Edge for that one example on how to structure and go beyond the will for comprehensive estate planning, we just saved Jimmy $7,000 in unnecessary taxes on simply going beyond the will and actually implementing some comprehensive estate planning. So if that brings up something in your estate or your grandparents' estate or your mom and dad's estate, you might be listening and you're 60 years old and mom and dad are 80s. They're in their 80s and they're thinking about giving away stuff. And the will, they know their will is 20 years old. Well, let's go beyond that will and do some comprehensive estate planning. That's where being a tax attorney and a CPA, I bring that value to the client relationship. So if you want to start that conversation, do give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. And here's a bonus for being a listener here on the Professional Edge. What we can do is completely get a comprehensive estate plan, do your income tax analysis, and review your portfolio. Yes, we are a registered investment advisor firm that is registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission, and we are offering that as a bundle. And to get the details on that, you only can get it via visiting emcthebundle.com. That is Echo Mary Charlie the THE bundle.com. We put this together, and yes, it is a only special for listening to the Professional Edge, because I want to reward you as being a loyal listener. And is it an inflation buster? The answer is yes, because if you engaged our services for 3 of these, estate planning, income tax planning, and a portfolio review, it would be north of 10 grand. Go to that site and look at the value that you're getting for that. You will be shocked and amazed. So, continuing on beyond the will for comprehensive estate planning. So what exactly is in your estate plan? We always got to consider that, and a lot of our listeners have a business or they have some rental property and then they have some investments on the side. So how do we split this? Because the daughter is living in California, the son is here in Georgia, and he is into real estate and the daughter is not. She has nothing to do with it. But you want to, quote, divide this estate in half equally between the 2 kids. So think about this. You got, let's see, 5 rental properties. How are we going to divide that 5th rental property equally? Well, I'm not even sure you're going to divide them equally, because the daughter in California has nothing to do with real estate, and the son says, man, these are great rental properties. I want this as part of my estate when dad passes away, and I'm going to keep these and keep building the real estate empire that we have. And the daughter has nothing to do with them. So how are we going to balance this out? Because if each one of these homes are worth $200,000 times 5, that's $1 million. And let's say the investment account is a couple $100,000. Pretty typical things we run across, because the investment portfolio might not equal the real estate portfolio. And to give all the securities to the daughter and only give the houses, which are illiquid, to the son, if they're equal value, I'm not sure that's dividing the estate equally, because one has liquidity and one does not have liquidity. So that is going beyond the will and doing comprehensive estate planning. What assets are going to go to what beneficiary, and when are they going to receive these assets when they inherit them? What's the nature and characteristic of what they're going to receive? So again, that's a very simple example. Or you may have a condo down there on the Panhandle or Gulf Shores, beautiful beach, top 10 in the world. So when we look at that, we have one condo and it says equally divided between the kids. Well, there we go again. Daughter's in California. How many times is she going to get to Panama City Beach? Son's right here in Georgia, and he loves to easily pop down 3.5 hours south of Columbus. Wow. Okay, so how are we going to divide that equally? Because if son is going to use it more than daughter, should he have to pay all the HOA fees and all the insurance and all the taxes? Or is he going to be responsible for only half of that, and we're going to do a deed between daughter and son? Because that's what the estate plan said. So going beyond the will is not just looking at the assets and say, or not even looking at the assets and say, okay, great, we're going to take this down. And that's what the online things do. You know, this wills and trusts that you see on TV. You can get your estate plan done for $99.99. But how's it going to be effective or go beyond the will for comprehensive estate planning? Again, you get what you pay for, and you know what? If it's not done properly, it's probably going to cost you a lot more than doing your estate plan properly. So again, to have that conversation, to go beyond the will and have some comprehensive estate planning done, do give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. So we got the split of the estate issue as well when we go beyond the will and do our comprehensive estate planning. But what about that surviving spouse? Okay, guys, you may be handling the finances, or ladies, you might be the handling of the finances, the CFO of the household. So when the CFO of the household passes away and the surviving spouse is going to receive these assets, do they have any clue on how to manage things and what you've been doing to keep the stock portfolio growing, the required minimum distributions you got to take, the Social Security elections, the additional Medicare add-ons and additional premiums you got to pay, and when the real estate taxes are going to be going out? Well, lo and behold, the CFO has passed away. So when we leave these to the surviving spouse that are not aware of what's going on, doesn't understand the investment profiles or any stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that, here we go. Let's go beyond the will and do some comprehensive planning. Leave everything to the surviving spouse, but when that surviving spouse receives this inheritance, well, we're going to assign them a financial advisor to make sure that they, stay on track. So we've done that with a lot of our clients at estate management counselors. When the surviving spouse passes away, that recipient, the surviving spouse, is going to receive these, and we're going to hold them in trust. We're going to allow them to be the trustee, but we're also going to assign a financial advisor to these assets to help that surviving spouse get along and not make these huge money mistakes that often happen to the surviving spouse that's not familiar with and doesn't understand investing, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, insurance, things like that. So again, if you don't have that in force and in place, and you want to go beyond the will and do some comprehensive estate planning, put things in place now before it's too late. Give our office a call at 877-654-9798. That number again, 877-654-9798. My name's Sean Todd. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner, host here on The Professional Edge, and I look forward to you tuning in to our next session.
With today's financial markets, are you getting the personal and professional attention you and your money deserve? Clients of estate management counselors benefit from having one set of professionals advise them on their tax, estate planning, and investment advice. We call that the Professional Edge. Sean Todd is a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. With over 15 years' experience, he welcomes the opportunity to assist you in preparing for retirement, implement effective tax planning strategies, and to help you properly plan your estate. His radio show, The Professional Edge, is aired weekly on Sundays at 9 a.m. If you're interested in meeting with Sean, call his office at 877-654-9798. That's 877-654-9798. Do you want to feel more confident about making the right investment, tax, and estate planning decisions? Today, these decisions are more complex than ever. Have you thought about working with a professional advisor and not sure who to turn to? Not sure what qualifies one to be an advisor? Sean Todd is more than qualified as a tax attorney, CPA, and certified financial planner. Scene is with Estate Management Counselors. Estate Management Counselors operates as an independent fee-only investment advisory firm. They're dedicated to gaining a personal understanding of their clients' objectives and implementing professional counsel and advice to achieve those objectives. So take a second to talk with Scene Todd to learn how you can benefit from their multidisciplinary practice where they coordinate their clients' legal, tax, and investment strategies into one comprehensive and integrated plan to enhance and protect their clients' financial security. You can reach Estate Management Counselors and speak with Scene Todd by calling 1-877-654-9798. That's 1-877-654-9798.